4. Pregame.tv, welcome back. Steve Fezzik here with Brady, Kannon, Bryan Leonard, the crack sports handicapping team. We are on a 9-1 run on our videos, 3-0 last week, and looking for more winners, winning, and more winning. We're going to go to the Armed Forces, Navy at Air Force. No, it's not Army and it's not the Coast Guard. Bryan Leonard, do you have the winner?
I've never lost a bet on the Coast Guard.
If Notre
or
Dame,
the Marines, actually.
If Notre Dame could schedule the Coast Guard, they would in some of their down years to try to pad their record.
What are you trying to say?
Notre Dame used to play cupcakes.
All right. Yeah, big game here for the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. The last 5 years, these teams have played. 3 of those 5 years, this game has gone to overtime. The other 2 games, 8-point victory and an 18-point victory last year by Navy. But if you go back to last year's game, actually at halftime, Army led that game 10-7. In fact, in the game, Navy only outgained Air Force. I'm having problems. Air Force by 14 yards. So it was one of those situations that the final score isn't indicative of the way this series has played out.
Air Force was truly horrible last year. Brady,
yeah.
They're obviously better this year. What's turned this team around?
I don't know what it is, Steve, but they're off of a huge victory, beating Boise State last week. And Boise's really down, I think. I mean, that was really indicative of, what this Boise team, I think, gives us this year. But a huge win for Air Force. Now, do you possibly, are you figuring in letdown into your play this week?
I don't think they can afford a letdown here with the coach on the hot seat. And
yeah.
Even though Boise is down this year, they're probably still the best team in the Mountain West Conference, and that tells you how bad the Mountain West is this year.
Air Force, I know I didn't look at the box score with the Boise game. I'm sure they ran the ball because they had the big lead, but they've been throwing the ball much more, looking for a more two-dimensional versus one-dimensional offense. Maybe that's been paying off so far. I do think when you get a tear down the goalpost, tremendous win like that, normally you look to fade a team when they come in as a favorite, but bring them in as the underdog, and then it becomes almost like a home underdog momentum situation that they pull the whole no respect card and they bring it again typically.
Yeah, and this game is the most important game on the schedule. Obviously, the Army and Navy games. So even though they're in a conference, the only one in the conference, they obviously want to win the conference, but these are the games that everybody remembers.
Very good. Brady, altitude. How big a deal? How big of a home field advantage?
Well, I think these teams are so familiar with each other, Steve. They've been there. They've traded this series, home and home, whatever, every year. So I don't know if it's going to be a huge factor. Granted, those Navy guys are going to be in shape. This might be the toughest game on their schedule, I think, Bryan.
For Air Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, like I said, I made a reference to the conference isn't very good this year, but Boise probably the best team here, even though they are in a down situation. But it is a big game for Air Force, and with the coach on the hot seat, this is a game that he really needs. And for everything I've been told, he's very popular with the players and highly respected, and it's just something that Air Force needs, and I think they're going to get it.
Your tip in your hand. I'm going to let you make it official in a few seconds. I am going to add a bonus prop play on this. I really think Navy moves the ball well, but they take forever, and they go for it on 4th and 1, and they get it typically. It's very hard for them to convert a drive and score in 6 minutes. I'm going to bet no score for 6 minutes of this game because I find most Navy games start out 0-0 halfway into the first quarter because
they wear you down with that running.
They wear you down, and they score more later on. So first quarter under is good as well, but I'm going to let you make your play official here.
All right, you made a good point about that, Steve, about how Navy plays. Keep in mind that these teams know each other very well, play each other every year. So a lot of times Navy has these advantages when they're playing a team that doesn't see them very often. Last week they played Western Kentucky, who was coming off of a bye, and Western Kentucky gets the win. Impressive showing for the Hilltoppers. But Air Force sees this every year, so they know the offense. A lot of these teams, they're smaller teams. They have similar offenses, the Armies, a lot of the smaller conferences. They just can't recruit the big, heavy guys on the offensive line, so they have to play this type of ball. I mentioned series history, 3 out of the last 5 years, overtime. Last year, 10-7 at the half, and they lose that game. So they go into the half, played very well. So you go back the last 5 years, there's only been one half of football that Air Force has been outmanned on, and that one was last year where they had a -3 turnover margin. You don't see these teams turning the ball over very often. I'm looking for another tight, contested game here. And this is a huge game for Air Force. I think they get the win here. We're getting plus 4.5. I see this probably going down to 3.5 by game time. So if you're able to get that 4.5, lock it in right now, and we'll play the home dog.
You going to parlay a little of that to the under 54.5 correlated?
Probably not.
Probably not. Very good. Brady.
Yeah, 54 does seem a little bit high with all the running that's going to go on. You agree?
I just like to try to find ways to parlay. So,
okay.
But do I agree? Do I disagree? Yeah, let me do a little more work on this one. I say. Let me table it. I will get back to you. And let's move on to the NFL.
Down to 3 by then.
Down to 3?
It will be if you put it on the.
I would think the total would come down a little bit. I don't know if it's already moved.
If you're going to bet the side, bet it ASAP because it is going to come down. You see Brian's tipping his whole cards. He knows people who know people. Syndicates are going to come in on Air Force. Bet this sucker now if you agree. If you disagree, wait and come back the other side. We're going to move on to the NFL, and we're going to talk about everyone's least favorite team this year, the New Orleans Saints, who have let us down so far. They're laying a boatload of points against Tampa Bay. We'll be breaking it down pregame.tv.
Cool.
Navy's not playing this game, are they?